Over the storm-torn skies of Normandy, on June 6, 1944, D-Day, chaos reigned. Gunfire crackled from every direction. The roar of engines thundered overhead, and a heavy shroud of smoke hung over the shattered French countryside. Near the small village of Rouen, a flash of silver pierced the clouds. A lone P-51 Mustang, battered yet unyielding, spiraling downward through the gray heavens. Its once mighty Merlin engine coughed and sputtered, trailing a thin ribbon of smoke that streaked across the sky like a dying ember. At the controls sat Lieutenant Thomas Fraser, of the 334th Fighter Squadron, 4th Fighter Group. His Mustang, marked QPG and lovingly nicknamed Jerry, had taken multiple hits during the brutal air battles over the Normandy beaches. Lost, leaking fuel, and barely holding together, Fraser wrestled with the controls, fighting to keep his crippled aircraft steady as the patchwork fields of France rushed up beneath him. Moments later, impact. The Mustang slammed into the earth with a violent crash. Metal shrieked, wings snapped, and dirt erupted skyward. But somehow it didn't burn. Fraser crawled from the wreckage, shaken, bruised, but alive. He would spend the rest of the war behind barbed wire as a prisoner. But his aircraft, serial number 43 to 24825, was about to begin a journey unlike any other. A journey that would quietly rattle the confidence of Germany's most seasoned fighter pilots. German recovery teams arrived within hours. By 1944, the Luftwaffe's engineers were masters of salvaging downed Allied planes. The Mustang's broken body was carefully lifted from the crash site and transported away piece by piece. Before long, it was bound for Rechlin, the Luftwaffe's premier test center deep in northern Germany. A place where captured aircraft were studied, repaired, and reborn. There, in the hangars of Rechlin, technicians worked with meticulous precision. Using scavenged parts from other wrecks scattered across occupied Europe, they painstakingly restored the American fighter. Weeks later, the sleek machine rolled out of the hangar once again, repaired, repainted, and transformed. Gone was the olive drab of the U.S. Army Air Forces. In its place gleamed black German crosses, yellow identification panels, and a new code, T9 plus HK, proudly painted along its fuselage. The sight was surreal. An American warbird now wearing the colors of its enemy. And soon it would take to the skies again. Not to fight the Allies, but to teach the Luftwaffe a lesson it would never forget. This particular Mustang was assigned to one of the Luftwaffe's most secretive units, Verschleppungsuniversitätsstaffel Rosarius, better known as Rosarius Traveling Circus. Led by Theodore Rosarius, this wasn't a combat unit at all. It was a special testing and demonstration group tasked with flying and studying captured Allied aircraft, and then showing frontline German pilots what they were really up against. By mid-1943, Germany's air war was faltering. American bombers were striking deeper into the heart of the Reich, hitting factories and cities once thought untouchable. Though the Luftwaffe still had capable fighters and skilled aces, they were facing an enemy they didn't truly understand. Reports from the front were conflicting. Some pilots swore American planes could outclimb them. Others claimed they were slow but nearly indestructible. Nobody knew for sure. Rosarius aimed to end that confusion. His idea was daring but brilliant. Take captured Allied aircraft, repair them, and let German pilots see and fly the real thing. No more guesswork, no more propaganda. Just raw, first-hand experience. When Fraser's Mustang was finally ready for its first test flight, the German pilots at Rechlin eyed it with skepticism. For years, they had been told that American aircraft were crude, mass-produced machines built for quantity, not finesse. They expected it to feel heavy, clumsy, industrial. But the moment the German test pilot climbed into the cockpit and fired up the Packard-built Merlin, those beliefs began to crumble. The engine's roar was unlike anything they'd heard. Smooth, confident, alive. The Mustang surged forward down the runway and lifted gracefully into the air. The controls responded instantly. Light yet firm, perfectly balanced between aileron, rudder, and elevator. The pilot could feel it immediately. This aircraft was no brute machine. It was precision, speed, and stability fused together. Inside, the cockpit was a revelation. Clean, organized, intuitive. Instruments were grouped logically, visibility was excellent, and even the pilot seat was comfortable. A luxury that mattered on the 8-hour escort missions the Allies flew across Europe. Compared to the cramped, cluttered interiors of the Messerschmitt Bf 109 or the Focke-Wulf 190, the Mustang felt like something from another world. Then came the true revelation: its performance. At high altitude, the P-51 climbed like no aircraft the Germans had ever tested. Its two-stage supercharged Merlin engine kept pulling power even above 30,000 feet, where German engines gasped for air. At full power, it could reach 440 miles per hour, nearly 60 miles faster than their best frontline fighters. That speed advantage wasn't just mechanical, it was strategic. A Mustang pilot could choose when to engage and when to disappear, fighting on his own terms. And that, more than anything, terrified the Luftwaffe. If the odds turned against him, all he had to do was push the throttle forward, and in seconds, the Mustang would leave its pursuers shrinking into dots behind him. For the first time, German pilots felt a bitter truth sink in. They no longer dictated the fight. The enemy could now decide when to attack, how long to stay, and when to vanish. The test flights went on for weeks. German pilots dived it, rolled it, forced it to the edge of its limits, and every time, the Mustang answered back with grace and precision. In steep dives, where German fighters often shuddered or risked tearing their wings apart, the P-51 held steady, smooth, and eerily composed. It could take punishment and keep flying. And its range, that staggering, almost unreal range, changed everything. With external drop tanks, the Mustang could stay aloft for over 8 hours, covering England to Berlin and back without pause. That revelation alone sent a chill through Luftwaffe command. The invisible shield of distance, the belief that Germany's heartland lay beyond Allied reach, had vanished. The skies above the Reich were no longer theirs. By late 1944, Rosarius Wanderzirkus, the traveling circus, took the captured Mustang on a demonstration tour across Europe. At airfields in Germany, France, and the occupied territories, crowds of Luftwaffe pilots gathered to witness the spectacle. Before their eyes, a yellow-bellied P-51, flown by one of their own, sliced through the sky. It roared past the stands in a blistering low-level run, then climbed effortlessly toward the clouds, looping, diving, and rolling with impossible elegance. When it landed, there was silence, the silence of disbelief. Then came the mock dogfights. Seasoned German aces, men with dozens, sometimes hundreds of kills, took off in their Bf 109s and FW 190s, determined to prove their superiority. But one by one, they found themselves humbled. The Mustang outclimbed them, outdove them, and when it wanted to, simply flew away. The old rules of air combat, tight turns, vertical climbs, knife-edge maneuvers, were useless now. The Luftwaffe began to adapt. Pilots started studying energy fighting, learning to manage speed, altitude, and momentum instead of relying on brute skill. Ironically, the Mustang, their enemy, was teaching them to become better aviators. Yet, the lesson came with a bitter aftertaste. No amount of talent could overcome the imbalance that now defined the war. After each flight, pilots crowded around the captured machine, touching its sleek aluminum skin, peering into its instruments, asking questions with a mix of admiration and despair. The myth of American inferiority, the propaganda that claimed Allied aircraft were crude, mass-produced junk, collapsed right there on the tarmac. Meanwhile, German engineers at Rechlin and Göttingen went even deeper. They dismantled sections of the Mustang, inspecting every weld, rivet, and control surface. What they found stunned them. The precision of American manufacturing was beyond anything they had seen. Welds consistent to the millimeter, alloys of exceptional purity, systems designed for reliability and ease of maintenance. Where German planes demanded hours of delicate adjustments, the Mustang could be serviced and returned to battle in minutes. The realization hit like a thunderclap. America wasn't just building good planes, it was building thousands of them, fast, and every single one exactly the same. While German factories struggled under bombs and shortages, American plants were rolling out over 800 Mustangs a month, each one a perfect twin of the last. And each of those machines had the range to reach Germany's heart. By late 1944, the Luftwaffe was crumbling. Fuel was scarce. Training hours were cut to nothing. Young replacements were being thrown into battle with barely 100 hours of flight experience, against Americans who had 3 to 4 times that. The veterans, the backbone of Germany's Air Force, were dying faster than they could be replaced. The Mustang had become far more than just a weapon. It was a symbol, proof that Germany had not only lost control of the skies, but of the very pace of war itself. The captured P-51, marked T9 plus HK, continued flying under the Rosarius test unit until December 1944, when it vanished into history. Whether destroyed in an air raid or lost in a crash, no one truly knows. Its fate remains a mystery, but its impact was undeniable. Hundreds of Luftwaffe pilots saw it, studied it, and fought against it, and all came away with the same chilling realization. The Allies had outbuilt them, outdesigned them, outthought them. The Mustang wasn't just an aircraft, it was the embodiment of Allied industrial power. Fast, reliable, forgiving, a machine born from a nation that had transformed factories into engines of victory. It gave the Allies something priceless, the ability to strike anywhere, at any time. Years later, one German test pilot put it best. "When I flew the Mustang, I knew the war was lost. Not because of the pilot, not because of tactics, but because of what that machine represented. It wasn't just metal and bolts. It was America, forged in aluminum." If this story inspired you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful World War II stories, and share this video to help keep history alive. One story, one victory, one legend at a time.